going on here, skipper?
On this episode, we're multitasking
What sort of fish did you catch?
while sailing to a luxury resort that's now completely abandoned. So crazy. We get the shock of our lives. Learn about a murder mystery and drench our dinner in coffee.
Yours is a single shot.
And yours?
Is the double.
And I also share with you how we earn a little extra coin while living on board our floating home to Kana. This is Amelia Cooper. And at the end, we discuss docking and the old bow thruster debate.
I feel most nervous when we are docking.
If you've been following our sailing journey, we're down under in Great Barrier Reef territory. Today we're heading to Brampton Island, which is only accessible by private boat. We've heard a lot about this place, good and bad, and plan to anchor near a spot known as the Fish Bowl. And on our way there,
What's going on here, skipper?
Should I film some fishing?
What sort of fish did you catch?
We're very lucky because we're in a fishing zone still. Oh, my bicep is killing. Really? Is it a good one or a bad one?
another mackerel tuna, our third in a row.
Oh,
Don't gap him. Just pull him up like that.
I did count my chickens before they hatched. It was another mackerel tuna, and it's a lot of effort to clean that type of fish for a real strong flavoured fishy fish. So we just put him back. We might have to get ourselves a different lure because we seem to only be catching mackerel tunas. Bugger.
As we pull up to Brampton, we anchor on the northern side of the island, just as the sun decides to show it off in all its glory.
You're multitasking, babe.
I'd like to say this place has come a long way since 1916, when a Maltese couple leased the island to breed horses for the Indian Army. But as we walk around, we realise there's just one resident here and an empty resort left in ruins.
So I just spoke to the caretaker who just lives in that little hut over there. She's just there to make sure that everyone stays on the beach and doesn't enter the abandoned resort, which she said closed down in 2011. We were under the impression that it closed because of a cyclone that swept through, but she said that wasn't the case.
And from what I can gather, United Petroleum purchased the resort more than a decade ago. It intended to build a 7-star resort, but it never eventuated. And now the pool looks more like a science experiment.
Oh, there are fish in there.
She said I won't be back.
I just met these two guys, they're teachers, they're just from a kind, they've come out here to go fishing, and when one of them was a child, he used to come here with his family, and he remembers going on the train. And
the first tourists arrived here in 1933. In the early days, food was kept cold with blocks of ice packed in sawdust, brought in twice a week from Mackay. And before phones, homing pigeons delivered messages to and from the mainland. It's hard to believe almost a century later, and this Great Barrier Reef haven is deserted. Belongings left behind, untouched, and this paradise is simply abandoned. And the government hasn't intervened.
it's so crazy.
It's a jet ski there. Wow. Oh, yeah.
Oh, what the heck? Is there someone living in there?
Oscar the ground.
Just as we were about to go for a hike, I got a message, so it was back to Takana.
I've just got a gig come through, which is pretty cool. So we're just going to quickly do it now, and then we're going to go for this walk that's going to take 2 hours. One way that we're able to make a little bit of money on the road is through voiceovers. So I kind of convert our...
Showing them all the dirty.
You can't see it. You honestly can't see it. Okay, I'll quickly clean up. I convert the V-berth here at the front into like a makeshift voice studio. So what I do is I get a couple of pillows and I put them up here.
This gig is asking me to put on a news voice, and given that I was a journo for 10 years, this is my bread and butter, and so I just have to pretty much read it in a reporter's voice. It's a commercial release and it only goes for 8 seconds, which is a breeze. So we can get this out the way and go for this walk. Oh, let's just give it a crack. This is Amelia Cooper with the Hulu News Network. Just do it one more time. HNN is pleased to bring you the world exclusive premiere. So we'll quickly edit this up for them and then I'll flick it off to them via the internet, which is great because we have on board the mast when we got it taken out in Melbourne, we got a booster put on there, which John calls my...
Yeah, Instagram antenna.
But it's also a great way for us to utilize it while we're out in the water for business purposes. That actually sounds like I'm plugging it for taxation purposes. But John, can we claim that on tax?
What?
The booster. I just thought of that then.
Possibly.
No, but I'm just saying, like I've never thought about it before until then. The booster on board the mast allows us to get reception where a lot of other boats around us can't. So our mast is around 19 meters and it sits on top of that and it's fabulous. We need to go on this walk, so we'll quickly edit this and we'll send it off to them and hopefully they give it a big thumbs up. This is Amelia. I don't like that one. While it helps pay the bills, it's not stable work. So your support here on YouTube and Patreon, where we post all our behind the scenes content, helps us immensely. Just call it Hulu News. Technology has come a long way since Pigeon Post. With our work done, we're going to go test our luck and explore this national park. We're going to be hiking to the peak where the view is supposed to be insanely beautiful and worth the risk of pounding through the overgrown bushland.
Oh, John thinks there'll be snakes in here, so I'm gonna let him go first. Okay, babe. It's very overgrown.
It actually reminded us of this song. You might have heard of it.
Come to Australia, you might accidentally get killed.
Yeah.
Do you remember it? So what do we do if we get bitten by a snake?
Usually you just get your belt, put it around your leg, and then you just cut your leg off.
No. No. What's in your bag?
Some nuts, a can of tuna.
And there is also a radio. So John and I just did a little brief to one another that if anything happens, we have an EPIRB, we have our radio, just go straight on to channel 16, make a mayday call.
No, you make it
Pan.
No, you're not on a boat.
Oh.
You just call someone and say, hey, can you come and help us? Watching us see him.
We made it! See the runway? I wasn't expecting that. I thought it to be overgrown.
There have been a few disasters on Brampton, a plane incident, the abandoned resort, and a murder mystery. For almost 2 decades, police tried to hunt down the holiday maker who killed waitress Celia Dowdy in 1983. They eventually arrested businessman Wayne Butler. He was the first person in Australia convicted of murder using DNA profiling.
John's cooked dinner on board and he has marinated these wonderful steaks. He's got the barbie on, smoking up here. What is on them?
Coffee.
And?
Turmeric. Smoked paprika, pepper, salt, cayenne pepper.
Which one's mine?
Yours is a single shot.
And yours?
It's the double.
We rarely eat steak, but when we do...
Mate, just give me 5 minutes, will you?
It seems we draw a bit of an audience.
How good does that smell? Like a latte.
But birds on boats aren't toilet trained. So he had to go.
Thank you, Dan and Alyssa, for this recipe. We have half an avocado with a big dollop of butter underneath, Oh my gosh, they look pretty burnt.
They are very burnt.
They've been in there for like 2 weeks, and so I think John wanted to like cook them up good so we wouldn't get sick. It actually tastes really good. Like really good.
Coffee makes everything good. Not bad for off steak.
It tastes amazing. Let's just hope that we can sleep tonight.
Because tomorrow we finally sail to Airlie Beach, the Whit Sundays. We're heading to town as we're fast running out of supplies.
Guys, I just want to do a massive appreciation message to you all to say thank you for being here through this entire journey. We have officially made it to the destination that we dreamed about, Airlie. We're here in the Whit Sundays, and my gosh, this is just a spectacular day. Oh my lordy lord. We're just making our way into the marina. We haven't provisioned for a couple of weeks, so we need to restock the fridges. We have a heap of stuff that's also being delivered to the post office. So we're going to get all those jobs done over the next 2 days. Another thing that we're doing is getting our freezer fixed, so we can add extra veggies and more food into the freezer so that we can spend more time out on the islands and less time having to come back here to replenish our stocks. We'll get in, we'll get the work done, we'll scrub the boat down. What a splendid day. Wowza.
But as you guys know, we like to give you a balanced view of what it's like out here. So we're about to get honest about docking.
So it is currently low tide. Our draft is 2.2 meters.
As we enter the marina, we're told to stick to the middle of the channel. There is a lot to think about.
So we're going downwind, so because I'm going to need quite a bit of speed on and then reverse pretty hard just to keep steerage. We'll just see how we go.
We dread docking. Obviously, we're still learning, and there's a lot of pressure being so green on an enormous boat like Tucana, particularly when we're broadcasting ourselves online for all to see and judge.
Well, imagine what it must be like for them trying to park in a place like this.
I'm on the lines for now because the thought of parking without a bow thruster scares the bejesus out of me. But I am practicing, and I'm sure with time we'll both become proficient.
We are extremely green. We haven't had that much experience in docking at this stage. I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel most nervous when we are docking. I was talking to someone on Instagram the other day and they were telling me how nervous they were. I'm not talking about all the people out there who have years and years of experience. I'm talking about green yachties like we are and were at the start of our journey, who are scared of getting behind the helm. I'm still very nervous about doing it. What advice do you give to those people who haven't been behind the helm yet?
Get someone who knows what they're doing to give you some instruction on your boat. Read some books, get a pen and piece of paper, and consider how you would dock your boat for your berth, or the berth you're going into, with the wind coming from every point of the compass. And if you can come up with a strategy for each one, you're going to be covered for most scenarios, but every scenario is different. Either there's an obstruction in a different place, the space between the boats is narrower, you know, you've got strong wind or strong current, or the together or opposing, or your boat prop walks one way but you've got the wind coming from the other way,
or cleats are in different positions.
Yeah, the points that you tie the boat up to are different. There's always going to be something different, so you've got to be able to be a little bit dynamic in how you approach things.
Oh, that person's shoe just fell in.
And you've got to work out what works for your boat as well. So for some boats, you know, the prop walk can be used very effectively. If you've got a full keel, you might go about it differently. If you've got a fin keel, you'll have a different technique. So yeah, for us, reversing in works quite well. We've got a spade rudder and a fin keel, so that works really well for manoeuvrability for us to reverse in.
Is it still floating?
No, it's gone.
Sorry, I didn't have time to get it.
Yeah, that's right. Some things that might not be completely obvious, which might just help you understand the challenges with parking a boat, is A, the boat pivots around the keel, and also if there is no water flowing over the rudder, you can't steer the boat. So if you bring the boat to a stop, it's turning the wheel does nothing because there's no water flowing over the rudder. But then you add like current to the mix. So if you, I don't want to waffle, but the point that I'm trying to make, if you're coming into a berth and you have the wind and current behind you, the boat might still be moving through space, but it is not moving through the water. So you might be moving into a bay at quite a high speed and have absolutely zero steering if the current is going with you. So these are the sorts of things that you really need to think about, and it's amazing the difference that a small change in current will have to your steering, and things like speed and that sort of thing. So you really need to take all these into consideration when you come up with your plan.
We purchased a Kana. It doesn't have a bow thruster. Anyone watching considering buying a boat, should they try and buy a boat with a bow thruster?
Oh, if you've got the option to have one, it's nice to have. It's definitely not necessary. A lot of people told us, on a boat over 40 foot you got to have a bow thruster. And I don't know, I just wouldn't agree with that. I think it's nice to have. It'll make your life a lot easier and less stressful, and it will give you more options, and you can probably dock under more challenging conditions with a bow thruster, but it's definitely not necessary.
We love Takana, and it wasn't a deal breaker for us.
Yeah, it wasn't a deal breaker for us. We were worried about it. It was, because we hadn't never parked a boat. And then you buy a 50-footer with no bow thruster, people think you're nuts, and maybe we are.
But to be fair, we've met people along the way who have installed a bow thruster for $7,000.
Yeah,
$10,000,
something like that. They're not cheap.
$5,000.
They're not cheap, but
so you can always get one installed after the fact if you have your eye set on a particular boat.
A few things that we do is use spring lines a lot, and also lots of fenders.
We do. We always cover the boat in fenders. Someone told us that very early on, didn't they?
Yeah, it's your last line of defense. If you do lose control of the boat and it drifts into another boat or something, if you've got fenders out, it's gonna save you.
I mean, we could talk about this for ages. Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it. We could have literally spoken about mooring for a long time.
Yeah, you could. It's a whole another topic.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's very interesting.
It's interesting.
It's one of the hardest things that I find to do with the boat, but it's also the most satisfying when you get it right.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it is stressful, and there's like a sense of relief once you're all tied up.
We always high five, don't we?
Yeah, there's always a little bit.
Well, usually we high five, as long as we haven't had an argument along the way.
There's always, tensions are usually a little bit high.
Tensions?
When you're parking.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
But it's just nervous energy.
But you know what? Like we've done pretty well. I don't think we've had any really hairy moments since leaving Melbourne. We did have a hairy moment in Melbourne.
We had a hairy moment in Melbourne.
Everyone's had a hairy moment. Thanks for watching, guys.